Our next exercise is going to be your first chord progression. I want your ear to begin to tell you and begin to remind you what a major chord sounds like. In this exercise, there are two major chords that are played a lot. The third one is just a little bit different, and I'd like your ear to at least let you know that difference. We add a seventh there, so that's the difference behind it. Primarily, this exercise is going to incorporate your interval expansion now in a chord progression. It's all double vertical strokes, but your intervals are going to be changing from that third to fourth like we practiced in the previous lesson, and now we're just going to put that in context. Okay, in the first measure, you're going to notice I'm playing a C major chord. I have a third in my left hand and a fourth in my right hand. I'm going to play 8 repetitions of that before moving to the second chord. Now, on that 8th note, I'm going to move to the next chord. That now changes my left hand to be a fourth and my right hand to be a third, as we're playing an inversion of the F major chord. In the third bar, we're just going to return back to the same chord we were playing in the first bar. In that F major chord, you had a third in the right hand and a fourth in the left hand. We're going to move those inner mallets so that you're back to a third in your left hand and a fourth in your right hand. At this point, you may just want to practice moving from chord to chord. In order to get that good muscle memory, you might want to play the C chord for a few repetitions and then move to the F chord and back several times before continuing on with the exercise. You'll see that I'm just doing small motions with my inner mallets as I move between the thirds and the fourths. It's not a lot of motion, and my elbows are still supporting my wrist there. I don't need to create this motion by using my arms in this direction at all. It's just going to move very slightly between those inner mallets. Eventually, I'd like you to do this exercise at a faster pace. Once you're comfortable with it, you're going to change chords a little bit quicker. We started off with 8 repetitions. Eventually, I'd like you to move to 4, then 2 repetitions. Then I'd like you to play the chord progression with only 1 repetition per chord. You may have to work up to that, and you need to make sure it's comfortable and accurate, so don't go too fast too soon. In the fourth measure, you're actually going to go to a G7 chord. From the C major chord, your left hand only needs to move up a third. There will be no interval movement between mallets 1 and 2. Your arm will just move slightly to help facilitate that stepwise motion. In your right hand, you're going to move from a fourth and you're going to contract to a third so that mallet 4 moves down to play the B. That looks like this. And then I move to the G7 chord. If you need to, go ahead and practice the movement between those chords back and forth until you feel comfortable with it. Let me go ahead and play the second line for you. The first line has 8 repetitions and it's going to be relatively easy. The second line starts off with 4 repetitions per chord, moves to 2 repetitions per chord, and then you only have a single repetition on each chord. You can see that my motions are relatively quick. You don't want those mallets flopping around, hitting wrong notes. Hold your grip strongly and practice slow. The part where you have a single stroke per chord may take you a while, and you might want to practice that one at a different tempo than the 4s and the 2s until you can get up to speed with the rest of the exercise.